Is there any update on that competition?
Those guys are doing a nice job. They're working hard, and I mean that's what it's going to be every time, Softy. I mean that's really what it's going to be. I mean we're just trying to get those guys reps and let them improve and progress, and see who's building skill. That's really.
It's hard for you to do a rhythm when you got 5 guys.
It doesn't matter if you have 3 guys. I mean, this is one of the principles of playing quarterback. It's great if you're the starter and we have a starter. He's going to get some really good reps. Probably not enough still that he needs unless you're in the NFL when that guy takes every rep, which we don't do that in college football. And so certainly when you're trying to get a handful of guys reps, I mean, you have to get every rep mentally if you don't get it physically. I mean, that's part of our coaching style for every position. So you can build skill mentally for sure. All this tape, every rep out there, and then when you get it, you gotta capitalize on your chance.
How different does it feel though, from a coaching perspective, having a whole bunch of not relatively new guys, but not having Jake out there, not having that incumbent?
I don't necessarily think it's so much even with Jake. I just think some of the guys that have been with us for a long time. I'm looking around I try to ask questions that guys can answer in our team meetings, and I'm looking for guys that I know will know the answer, and I keep looking. Oh, there's one that's been around here for a while. So we got a lot of new guys, and it's awesome to kind of start from scratch and retrain them. And we're truly, we always kind of take pride that we start from scratch with all of our teaching on everything, every part of our program. But when you look around the team room on guys that have seen things for a long time, and now guys that we're going to count on in the fall, they got to start answering these questions.
Seems like it'd be easy for coaches to fall into a sense of, because these guys, like you said, there's so many guys you can count on. Does that fresh perspective kind of reinvigorate you guys and get you guys going maybe in a little different way?
Yeah, and I think it's every year you have that with it seems like every year you lose about 15 to 19 seniors, so you always have that. But then when you have so many of those guys that were truly contributors for a long period of time, it really does. And so you get a piece of that every year, but certainly this year feels a little bit different, really in a good way as a teacher. It's like I sit in some of our meetings and I'm like, that's not going to be a good enough explanation. Like a lot of these guys don't know, like you got to start from scratch and build from there. And so it's a challenge for all of us in a good way.
What kind of jump is a guy like Austin Osborne taking just in the last year since he's been here?
Yeah, I think he's progressing. I think Austin is really progressing. And, I know Austin's going to be a good player for us. I mean, he's smart, and he did some really good things in high school and played at a high level. And so he's one of the guys I really want to see, take that next step where everybody starts noticing. He's got some of these guys, like you notice little things, but they need to turn heads with everybody making plays because, not only Austin, but a lot of these guys, they have it in them. And he's one of those guys I love watching every day.
Who else kind of fits that?
Well, I think it's across the board. I mean, you can go over on defense and start there with 10 new guys basically out there. And so it's like, okay, what's this look like? And, I think it's good, and on offense back to Spike, Maurice Spiker, and Jack Westover at tight end, and Rich Newton at the running back, Patu running, all those guys. I mean, it's just that's the beauty of spring ball because they are all going to get reps, and we are going to truly, truly evaluate them. And the same thing goes for at least early in fall camp. That's why you really like it as a coach. You're giving them chances. And they got to capitalize to earn more reps. There's been nobody that I've been more impressed with than Cam Williams. I mean, he shows up every day. Like you go back and put the tape on, and even if it's wrong, he does it full speed, and it's the right technique. It might be the wrong assignment, but it's not a lot of that. And so he's done a really nice job of practicing with a purpose, every day.
Coach, you had some guys here in the past, like David Shell, made it difficult for the offense
Yep.
to operate. Yesterday, your 2 defensive tackles looked like they were making it difficult for the
Yeah.
offense. How are they coming along?
I think the whole D line is making progress. We lost some pretty good production obviously, out of that position. But we've, got some young guys that are hungry and waiting. And then you couple with our defense is doing a lot of stuff, moving around and all that. And even if it's wrong, it's right for them a lot of times because the offense has so much to think about. So the combination of those two things is, making it hard on our offense, which is really good. It's going to make our offensive line better down the road when you couple all the stuff that's coming at them, plus some pretty powerful guys in there.
Where do you think Chico is at compared to where he was when he stepped away last year?
Oh, he's light years, he's light years ahead. I mean, when he stepped away, he needed to get away and refresh and get things in perspective. But he's done he's been great since he came back, and sometimes you just need that. You need a break from the daily grind when the walls start to close in on you a little bit. And it's just, he puts a smile on my face every day when I see him bouncing around and looking like, the old Cheek that we know and love.
Richard, you got a couple of they got the first Wildcat snap of the day. What do you really got at him on that spot? Is it physical?
Yeah, we're seeing what he's got. He had that injury last year, and so he didn't do a lot for us. A little bit more towards the end, but it's really hard to know about these running backs. I mean, we didn't know about Myles Gaskin until, the third game of his freshman year, even though he was playing. Can they do it on a consistent basis? Because it's just really hard to tell in practice. You just think and it looks really good in practice, but the game when we're tackling guys, and we just don't tackle much here. So we got to get them right in terms of the reps of, what the reads are in terms of the run game and certainly pass protection. And he's a guy that we're really excited about taking a look, see where he's at.
You mentioned 10 new guys defensively. The one guy that's been there is Kyler New, even though he hasn't played a ton. How comfortable are you with him in the middle of the starters right now?
Yeah, and so Kyler's one of those guys that's been around for a long time and has had a lot of reps, not as many meaningful reps as you'd like, but he has a lot of banked knowledge, and so he's one of those guys. And I always talk about this: these seniors, whether they've been a starter or not, it's like those are the guys that need to make the jump. And I think Kyler so far, maybe halfway through spring ball, whatever we are, has taken a nice step. And it's good to see. I mean, I'm always looking for those seniors. The young guys, I know they're going to get better. The seniors, can they take that next step? And when that happens, good things will happen for them and for us.
Chris, you talked a lot about not waiting spring, but keeping guys upright, keeping guys healthy,
Yep.
getting ready for the fall. But when you see the collision between Mold and McKinney,
Yeah.
does your heart skip a beat when you?
Well, I
like
just,
that?
that's part of football. And it goes back to poor football on the offense. The defense had the collision, but we can't throw balls like that. That's an ill-advised pass. Those are, you're going to get somebody hurt like that. But you got to make mistakes out there, to correct them, and we'll learn on the other side of the ball. But yeah, you don't want collisions like that. But I think the defensive guys will learn too. You're going fast. You got to feel each other and feed whether that's a game rep or not. You don't want that friendly fire on each other. And so everybody's learning, and we'll put that tape on, and I think both those guys will be smarter practice players on defense next time.
Coach, the weather hasn't been great. Does it matter?
I think the weather has been great. This is dog weather. I mean, I want it like this. We don't get a practice in this. That's what everybody doesn't understand. Like you guys in the fall, we don't get this, till late in the year. And so for us to just be out here, this is nothing. It really is. Our kids aren't going to bat an eye at this. I hope the other guys that come from sunny climates are batting an eye. But, before we snap our fingers, the sun's going to be out. Seattle's going to be the best place in America to be. But if we can practice in some of this stuff, I think it's awesome.
Chris, you mentioned what Richard Newton.
Rich, yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you see in this game?
Well, like I was saying, I don't know. I mean, it's very hard to tell from our running backs, because we haven't tackled one time in practice yet, full speed. They haven't gone to the ground. He hasn't had a chance to really break tackles. But he's got quick feet. He's a big, powerful guy. Looks like his vision's pretty good. So all those things are checking out, but we'll have to play real football here, in a little bit and get him some meaningful snaps. But I think all arrows are pointing up.
You have so many young, talented DBs. I'm wondering what separates Kyler Gordon, just in athleticism and the way that he plays from those other guys.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he separates himself from the other guys. I think, like you said, we got a lot of talented guys there that are all doing a nice job. And I think, you know, he can move, he can jump. You know, he's physically gifted in terms of all of his physical skills. And now we just got to keep getting him reps so he can mentally play super fast the right way. And I think Kyler's done a nice job this spring in terms of progressing and all those things.
You were talking about how the offense might have a little more to think about right now. Is there a point in spring where it really just have to start executing with the defense being able to fly around a little more reactionary?
Yeah, you'd hope so. But when you play every single guy that's in that locker room, you know, it's going to be painful at times. And so we'll keep forcing the issue and letting guys get reps that, you know, deserve them. And we see some things and, you know, the mental part of things because, you know, we still got a bunch of things to add in. So it's kind of that whole method where if we're trying to reach spring ball, we got enough for a few games here and we just stop. But we don't want to introduce something in the fall that we haven't at least touched on, that we can, you know, practice and clean up. So we got to get a lot of things in for us to be able to do what we want to do in the fall.
You're obviously a couple weeks away from your spring preview event, but I'm curious what you see as the purpose of a spring game or a final spring event like that.
They make us do it, to put it on TV.
Would you not
No.
prefer just to not do any kind of fan event?
I would, you know, I don't mind opening it for the fans at all, but fans really want to see scrimmaging and tackling and real football and touchdowns and not good defense. They don't want to, you know, when you come to watch it, you watch until you want touchdowns. You know, our defense picks it off and everyone's like, oh, no, that's your team too. That's good. You can cheer. Sack the quarterback, cheer. Oh. So that's why it's a little bit hard on the fans in spring ball when we're not trying to, you know, win spring ball. We're trying to develop talent individually and put it all together. And certainly we want to have execution. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the one's got to be able to execute a little bit. But that's all I'd say. You know, again, would I prefer it not to be on TV and all those things? Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of work to do. We just want to practice, and we think we can get more out of it that way. So, but it's, you know, it's good. I mean, it's good to have fans in there and practice in front of those guys and do a little bit of scrimmaging.
If you ever had the numbers, and maybe you do now, would you ever consider doing a game or?
Yeah, we would. And when we had numbers, we've had numbers. I don't think we've had numbers since I've been here, but we've had numbers a couple times, and we had a whole spring game. And again, you know, I think the philosophy of spring practice for a lot of coaches has changed in terms of how much live stuff you're really going to do. I think it's changed over the last 10 years. At least for us, it really has. And so, so you couple that philosophy with the numbers issues that you have. You know, it makes it kind of hard to do a whole spring game. But we probably would do more if we just, you know, all the guys that we just moved on, if we could replace them and have a roster of 100 guys, we would probably do more.
Do you find yourself, I guess, desirous, like what Michigan has and Ohio State, where they're putting 90,000 fans in there for a spring game? Is that something that you desire to see happen one day? Or?
Not really. Yeah. I desire to see 72 plus every Saturday when we play in the fall in this place. I desire that desperately. You know, that's what I think. Is it good for our guys to get out in front of our fans in a practice here? We do that in the fall. Yeah, it is. I think it kind of changes the chemistry and all that stuff. You know, I think the fall's when we're getting ready to go, and you know, spring ball is just like a completely different, you know, mindset in terms of building skill and, you know, not winning the spring, so to speak. I think you win the spring when you're really getting a lot of guys reps that can help you and build depth.
Speaking of building depth, where do you think the offensive line is the second and third team? So far.
Yeah, the second and third team. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do there. You know, there's some. I think there's some guys that, you know, have some physical skill, but mentally getting all those guys on the same page. You know, and then executing. You know, but. It's really good. I mean, it's very painful early on. It's like taking your medicine. I could force a defense to say, you're not running all this stuff. You can run these two things so they can get dialed in. But everything they're doing, we're going to see in the fall. And so, you know, it can be a painful, you know, couple weeks till these guys really start to, like, see things enough and have a chance to fight. And sometimes with the twos and certainly the threes, the stuff that the defense is bringing on them, you know, is almost unfair to those guys sometimes, but life isn't fair.
It's only been a few months, but what kind of impact is Junior Adams having?
Yeah, I think Junior's fitting in here great. I think the receivers, you know, those guys are learning to figure each other's style out, and you know, I think he's been a nice addition, and I think those guys are all really feeling, you know, what he's all about.
Junior's the one thing you take pride in is teaching.
Say again?
Teaching, but Junior takes pride in teaching, but it's not just coaching.
Yeah.
That's something you saw in him and kind of see develop in the spring.
Yeah. Yeah, I would hope all of our coaches are, you know, very much teachers first and foremost. You know, what's the difference between a teacher and a coach? Yeah, I think completely. We divide it up, but and we work really hard at what those fundamentals are as a teacher, and then we kind of separate it out in terms of what a coach really is, and you know, those things, and so we work every day on those things.
Is there a best position for Miles Bryant, or where you think he can make the most impact?
Mm-hmm. Probably where he can make the most impact is the fact that he gives us tremendous flexibility. And I don't think he really slows down much at all, whether he's a nickel, at safety, at corner. He's played nickel for a long, long time, so he really has the nuances of that position inside and out. He's probably most comfortable there. But I think the best thing about him is I think we can play him at three positions, and I don't think we're going to, you know, I don't think he's going to slow down at all. I think he'll play at a high level.
There was a lot of intrigue with Alex Cook's move.
Yeah.
As well. How have you seen him?
Yep. You know, I think, so he's like a true freshman walking in here in terms of, you know, all those techniques and that. And I do see some progress, you know, each day that he's out there. And I think it'll be really nice. I always say this to the guys that are brand new, even though there's a lot of confusion and it's new. And I mean, every technique, let alone every like scheme that you put up there, it's basically like French to them. You know, it's like, what does this mean? And so by the time you get these 15 practices under your belt for Alex, and then he gets the chance to just digest this all through summer and get out there with his teammates on their own, and then we get, all of a sudden it's a different type player. So I do see progress, but there's a learning curve for sure when you move a guy like that.
I was also curious about the details of the spring preview and stuff. Notice that you decided to go with the decals on the helmet.
I haven't decided anything. That's kind of Bart. You know, sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off, and yeah, I don't really know.
Seems
Yeah.
like this is the first time.
Yeah,
First spring.
we probably should take them off. I didn't even know they were on there. I don't pay attention to that maybe as much as I should.